Welcome back to IGN Live on the show floor at E3. I'm here again with our friends from Nintendo and Takata-san from Atlus. Yesterday during Nintendo's digital event, you guys showed off something brand new, something sort of surprising, a game called Sharp FE. What is it?
シャープ FE はどんなものなのか説明できますか？
ですね、アトラス、自分はアトラスなんですけれども、アトラスが得意とするその JRPG っていうんですかね、こちらでは JRPG にファイアーエンブレムの要素を、足していった完全新規のRPG になります。なのでファイアーエンブレムを知らなくても、アトラスのゲームをやったことがなくても遊べるようになってますが、知ってるとまあちょっと面白いところもいろいろあるかなと思います。
So Sharp FE is actually, well, I'm from Atlus, but it's the kind of JRPG that Atlus is known for creating. And what we wanted to do is take certain elements of the Fire Emblem series and put them into a brand new RPG, which is something that I want to stress for today, is that this is a game that people who are completely new to either series can pick up and play and have fun with. However, we also wanted to put in elements into this series that fans of the series would then be able to approach the game and say, oh, I know that, or this is familiar to me.
So, I mean, I think right off the bat, Nintendo fans who are familiar with Fire Emblem, this is going to be very strange to them, right? We're in Tokyo. I mean, this is Tokyo?
ここ場所は東京ですね。
これ渋谷ですね。
This is Shibuya in Tokyo. で、ファイアーエンブレムのファンたちはこれを見て、いや、ファイアーエンブレムシリーズとはもう全然違うと思うんじゃないですか。
両方の真ん中を取っちゃうとあんまりゲームってうまくできないので、基本的にはそのアトラス、まあもちろんそのファイアーエンブレムは本家のインテリジェントシステムズさんが作った方がやっぱりちゃんとしたものになるので、我々が得意とする RPG の中にエンブレムを寄せる。なのでアトラスが得意とする現代の東京を舞台にした RPG になっています。
So the reason that is because if we were just to combine the two things, if we were just to take something that's just directly in the middle, you'd wind up with something that's a little bit strange. So what we wanted to do was take something that was familiar to Nintendo fans and make it in our own way as Atlus. If we wanted to make something that was similar to the Fire Emblem series, why wouldn't we leave that up to Intelligent Systems, who's in charge of the Fire Emblem series themselves? We think they'd be better for that kind of thing, but this is more of the type of thing that we're familiar with making.
Yeah, and it definitely looks like an Atlus game. What's familiar from the Persona games and the Devil Survivor games.
So stylized.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so just there we saw a musical performance. In the trailer, obviously, music was a huge part of that. How does music play into the game?
音楽はこのゲームにおいてどういう、意義がありますか？
なるほど。今回その主人公は芸能界にひょんなことから入ることになったキャラクターなんですけれども、なんでしょうね、どこから言えばいいかな。クロムたち、ファイアーエンブレムのキャラクターたちミラージュって言うんですけども、彼らをより強くさせるためには芸能の力が強い方がいいんですね。なので歌とかそういうのがいろいろとこのゲームの中には使われている感じです。
So the reason that this game involves the musical industry is that for Itsuki, who is the main character, and all of his comrades, their power of expression, how strong their power of expression gets, determines how well they're able to use what are known as mirages. And these are the Fire Emblem characters that you've probably seen in the trailer that we've released this morning and the one that we released earlier this year. And the more expressive, power of expression that each character has, the more effective they are at being able to use those characters. So that's why the music industry plays a big role here. It only seemed like a natural fit.
And building off that, I mean, we saw in the trailer that the music's being produced by Avex, right? I mean, should J-pop fans be familiar with any of the music, or are they all new music?
第2弾目の PV を見たんですけれども、その中に、ABEC さんがその音楽の作成をに乗り出したって表記されましたが、この音楽は J-POP のファンたちには好まれるでしょうか？新しい曲なんでしょうか
？ABEC さんの中でもすごく有名なアーティストさんをやっている方の作曲してもらってるんですね。なので日本の若者にはぐさっと心に刺さるいい曲だと思います。かなりいろいろ曲もあって、他にもですね、今2曲流れましたが、基本的にボイスアクターさんと、歌を歌ってる人は同じ声優さんを使うみたいなこだわりも持ってキャスティングをしてるんで、とにかくいい歌いっぱいです。
So actually the person at AVEX that we asked the song creation of is a very well-known person that people in Japan would know really well. And as for the performances themselves, yes, they're all new for this game. And we actually did something interesting with the voice casting. All the characters that you see that actually have songs they sing within the game, we had to find voice actors and actresses who are not only good at acting, but who also had a measure of vocal talent as well. And we had them sing those songs.
Very cool. Well, it
Yeah,
looks like
that's
now
really
we're
interesting.
kind of getting a bit more into the gameplay here. How does the game play? How does it work?
そのコンバットシステムなどその探索についてちょっと触れていただけないでしょうか。
これもうちょっとバッと進めていただけるとダンジョンに入れます。で、ここは渋谷で、しかも次のダンジョンは渋谷の有名なファッションビルなんですけれども、そこのファッションビルに入るとその渋谷がファッションの街だっていうのを生かしたようなギミックのあるダンジョンになります。で、一回それ喋ります。
はい。So we're going to be getting into combat scenes a bit later, and we'll be able to talk about the combat a little bit later at that time. But what you're seeing right now is actually the start of a dungeon sequence that's based on this. Here it's shown as the 106 building in Shibuya, but it's actually based on the 109 building that actually exists in Shibuya, which is really famous. So yeah, there's a lot of exploration of that dungeon, which is going to start right now. はい。続きます。
で、バトルシステムですけれども、アトラスのゲームはバトルシステムにおいて敵の弱点をつくと有利になるっていうシステムが特徴なんですね。で、それとファイアーエンブレムって3組で3組で伝わりますかねがあって、いや同じく剣で各々を攻撃すると有利とかがあったりするんですが、そういうその弱点をつくシステムが非常に親和性が高くて相性が良くてですね、そこを生かしたバトルシステムにしてます。
And you're going to see this coming up, but as far as the battle system is concerned, we decided to take the battle system that people may know from the Shin Megami Tensei series where you find enemy weak points, and we thought, well, what about Fire Emblem would fit into that? And then actually in Fire Emblem you have something called the weapons triangle, which I'm sure fans of the series will really know, and that's also a system that involves finding weak spots and using them to your advantage. So we integrated that into this system, and what we have is a combat system that involves finding the enemy's weak points using both the elemental system from the Shin Megami Tensei series and the weapons triangle from the Fire Emblem series.
で、この後見てもらった方が早いんですが、敵の弱点をスキルでつくと仲間がどんどんと連続して攻撃していくんですよ。なのでうまく戦うとあっという間に戦闘が終わって有利になります。で、逆に敵もそれを使ってくるのでちゃんと気をつけて戦わなきゃいけないし、スキルの取り方とかパーティーの組み替えとかによってもそのつながりが変わってくるので、いろいろそのタクティクスが楽しめるかなと思います。
So, and you're going to see this in a bit, and it might be easier once you get your eyes on it yourselves, but by taking advantage of those enemy weak points, your comrades will jump in and do follow-up attacks as well, and that's called session arts in this game. So players are going to want to figure out what those session arts are, what those enemy weak points are, so that they can figure out how to cause session arts and end the battles quickly. But similarly, enemies are also able to do these session attacks to you, and every character that you're controlling has their own weaknesses and strengths. So you're going to want to figure out what kinds of enemies you're facing in each dungeon and adjust your party lineups. So please look forward to that.
I love this part. Like, it just looks so cool. Especially Itsuki.
So obviously, when we walked into the dungeon, we were a normal-looking kid. What just happened?
ダンジョンに入った時は一見その普通の若者に見えたんですけれども、何か変身したように見えましたけど、それについてちょっとご説明いただけないでしょうか。
クロムたちFE キャラクターのミラージュは主人公にその武器となって力を貸してくれるんですね。なので主人公たちはその敵と戦う力を得てこの世界を救うことができるっていう感じになってます。
So actually, yeah, Itsuki, the main character that you just saw, is a normal kid, but he is helped out by Crom, and I think Sita and Kane were also in there as well, who are Mirages in this game. And those Mirages during battle help the characters out by transforming into weapons. So the weapon that he's carrying around is actually Crom, or the essence of Crom. So that's what you just saw right there at the outset of this.
So it's like two cute anime boys in one. Is what you're saying.
Double the anime boy love.
What I'm interested in.
Do we get cute anime girls too?
Oh, do we?
そう最初兄がイケメンの2人が1人になったっていう感じですね。
そうですね。
Yeah, you're right about that.
Sarah, we get to see some other stuff too, don't we? Should we move on? Yeah, Sarah's our game player.
I love the whole graphic style of the HUD. I mean, it's.
Yeah, yeah. And they were also showing the gamepad earlier, and
I was going to ask about that.
yeah, yeah. And I'll let them talk about the details. But basically, it's kind of this system where you can like get messages from the people that you interact with, so like people in your party, and yeah, they'll know more cool details that probably I won't. But that's the general gist of it. So you can use it as kind of like that kind of.
So there's like a
HUD,
social aspect in play as
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
kind of like fans of the Shin Megami games would expect. You know, your friendships and relationships, and are you building those relationships over the game? I mean, what exactly is going on that gamepad?
主人公たちの間のこう絆が高まっていく感じがありますか？そういうシステムがゲームの中にも含まれてますか？
いろんなキャラクターたちがいるんですけれども、例えば翼はアイドルを目指していて、右のトーマはアクション俳優を目指したりするんですけども、彼らのそういう芸能生活をサポートしてあげるような任意のサイドストーリーがあるんですね。でそのこう絆を高めていくと、いろいろ技が使えたりとかいうのもメリットがあったりします。
So he said, yeah, you're right. There is that system in the game, and basically what's going on is that all these characters have personal side stories and their relationships with the Japanese entertainment world. So Tsubasa, for example, is the blue-haired female protagonist, and she wants to be a singer. Toma is the red-haired protagonist, and he wants to be a kind of action star. So as Itsuki, you help them realize their dreams, and your connections with the other characters get stronger, and by strengthening those, there are certain merits to your characters in the story.
Oh, we're seeing a thing. We're seeing a cool thing.
ドアークが
So
どうや
stylish.
ら好まれているようですね。
で今これ2人が歌ってま
Are
すけ
we
れど
sing
も、
attacking?
これ2人をデビューさせるようなイベントを発生させると、この技を覚えられるようになります。
So, talking about the connections before, along the side stories, there's going to be a time where you help these two protagonists have their debut, and once their debut happens and their side story, you get this special attack in the game to use.
I love it so much.
So the side story is optional, or do you sort of need to do them in order to progress in the quest?
サイドストーリーはプレイヤーが、自分の任意でやるかやらないか自由に
やれますね。
Yeah, they're totally up to the player whether they want to do it or not.
So basically, in order to not just forward the character storylines, but also open up new attacks, new weapons, I mean.
そうしますと、各キャラにはサイドストーリーを展開させるだけじゃなくて、先ほどおっしゃいましたそのメリットを手に入れるためにも価値っていうのがありますね。
そうですね。基本的にはまずドラマを楽しんでほしいというのでサイドストーリーを作ってるんですけれども、当然今のこの技は今度トーマとエレオノーラをデビューさせると使えるみたいな技なんですが、こういうメリットがあって、しかも攻撃がやっぱ強力なので、非常に効果的かと思います。
Well, actually, we're writing all the stories in the game so that players will want to actually pursue the stories, not just to get the thing is at the end is. And what you're seeing right here is actually the dual arts between Eleonora, who's the archer, and Toma, who is the lancer. And so, yeah, you'll be able to get that kind of dual arts at the end of their side story. But we hope that you'll actually do it because you're interested in those characters themselves.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, they're so cute.
So who are we fighting right now? This looks like a boss battle, right?
今ボス戦のようですけれども、誰と戦っているんでしょう？
これはギャンレルですね。ファイアーエンブレムのキャラクターたちはミラージュって呼んでるんですけども、その世界からやってきて、敵となってこの世界を滅ぼそうとしている者もいれば、クロみたいに主人公たちのパートナーとなって力を貸してくれる者もいるっていう感じになってます。
So actually, who you just saw, and who now Sarah just did a great job of cleaning his clock, but this is Gangrel from Fire Emblem Awakening, who was the villain in that game. And actually, the Fire Emblem characters who appear in this game show up as mirages from the other world. And there are some who are your allies, like Crom and Sita, but there are also some who are like coming in to destroy this world and wreak havoc, like Gangrel.
Very cool. Well, the game is looking fantastic so far. Before I let you go, when do you think players might be able to get it in their hands?
最後にこれいつ発売されるか分かりますか？
日本では2015年今年中に発売します。アメリカでも、来年発売したいと思ってます。
As for gamers in Japan, you'll be able to get your hands on it as soon as 2015. But for America, we'd like to be able to get it to you guys in 2016.
Awesome. Very, very exciting. Well, thank you for coming and thank you for showing this to us. And Ali, thanks for stopping by again. I'm
Talking
sure
about
we'll
how
see
cute
you
the
again.
characters were.
For everything E3, be sure to stay tuned to IGN.